Hello dear friends, I want to welcome everyone presently watching Sotnik-TV. It's March 18th, 2020, and this is our Wednesday news show. It's 8 p.m. sharp in Moscow, we're streaming live. Let me begin with the current situation in Europe. They are cancelling the music contest show Eurovision there due to the pandemic. Today in Bratislava I haven't met a single person upset about the cancellation. I must say that the people over here take quarantine quite seriously. The elders stayed home, and those outside use face masks and respirators. Only the pharmacies and grocery stores are now open. Everyone is calm and there is almost no panic to speak of. Schools are closed, jobs are being done remotely where possible, malls are closed and so are entertainment venues, which is understandable. Moving on to oil prices. The Saudi Energy Ministry ordered the state oil company to keep oil supply at its maximum production capacity for the next several months. This was a decree directly from the ministry. This maximum output policy was initiated by Saudi Arabia in response to Russia's refusal to reduce the production output, which is outlined in the OPEC Plus treaty in response to the coronavirus epidemic. The Saudi kingdom has kept oil production to about 9.7 million barrels per day, but now that number will be increased by a third. In addition to that, Riyadh announced a drastic price decrease for its national oil brand. The price in April could hit a low of $10.25. On the other hand, the price of Brent oil, which now goes for around $26. And as of this moment, $1 equals 81 Russian rubles after conversion. Finally, moving on to a crisp story from the region of Kamyshlovsk, the city council and the city for the Sverdlovsk region came up with a bill suggesting that we must urgently begin to arrange for people's bodies to be disposed of in a way that is in concern with military biohazard regulations. According to documents, the local authorities are going to adopt the bill in question to prepare for the mass burial of bodies of those who have fallen victim to the virus. There will be a military-like response as well as preparation for any possible scenario, like those which are only employed during man-made disasters or those that could lead to mass depopulation. The bill was published by the local administrative website back on March 10th. So local authorities are bracing themselves for a real war against the coronavirus. They're preparing for mass fatalities. Still, they're sacrificing containment so that every Russian will be buried properly and with respect. Moving on to the state of emergency, Mr. Bortnikov and Mr. Patrushev have requested the adoption of an immediate state of emergency. They're both Security Council members. This council is similar to the Soviet Political Bureau, so it's a political bureau version 2.0 run by Putin. The emergency state has not been adopted as of yet, but the company constructing a road in southeast Moscow is trying to take advantage of the current situation. Yesterday, local citizens clashed with local police at a construction site. The road in question will be built over an existing nuclear waste dump, and some unidentified people have begun to take a public radiation control post from their fixed positions. Yet local citizens are completely aware. They came out to protect the post. Later, special police officers arrived as well. Here's a brief video of their interaction. Let me be clear, this was filmed yesterday evening. The video in front of you illustrates the idea that adopting the emergency state in Russia will allow the regime to solve a lot of ongoing controversial issues as well. Issues involving citizens actively opposing them can be silenced in such a way. Who is to say what they will do in the dead of night, during the curfew hours? What needs to be done will be done, and people won't be able to come out. And whoever comes out gets arrested for breaking the curfew. I've discussed some of the possible outcomes of this pandemic for people and the authorities with Alina Vitukhnovskaya, a politician and writer. Up next, watch her comment. That sounds strange, but this pandemic creates a good reason for the authorities to improve their reputation. Yet the authorities won't do that, and here's why. There are three reasons. First of all, a developed medical infrastructure is absent in the territory of Russia. Medical care is okay in major cities, yet for the rest of the country, the situation is critical. Second, there is a Soviet tradition of silence. We all remember the events following the Chernobyl accident. We remember the consequences of the initial accident, its technical and physical impact on people's lives. Compare that with the consequences of the silence that accompanied it and how the government was responsible. The Chernobyl accident was one of the main factors for the collapse of the USSR. A similar fate may wait for Putin's Russia. That is, if it can't overcome the coronavirus pandemic, which sounds like a plausible scenario, as the situation is already critical there. All the measures are being taken too late and quite an incompetent manner. So, for the authorities, this is a lose-lose scenario. This is a real zugzwang regarding the voting for the amendments to the Constitution, as well as for the Victory Day celebrations in May. As we know, the victory is the last remaining symbol of the vanishing empire. No matter what the authorities do, whether they allow or ban the celebration, they lose. By putting so many people's lives at risk, or by cancelling it, they shatter their so-called ideological armor. Unfortunately, society will suffer from that as well. Over the 20 years of Putin's rule, people have neither created any active form of opposition, nor saved any form of so-called civil society. Unfortunately, that is true, and we must accept that. By not accepting that, we support the current situation, while it needs to be changed. Regarding the quarantine, I declare openly that I totally oppose an emergency state or ban on personal vehicles. It should be too expensive and too little too late. Besides that, we clearly understand that all the new laws are authoritarian in nature and will still be active even after the emergency state is removed. The pandemic will be over someday, while the authoritarian measure will remain in place. So I'm totally against that. Rather, they should begin educating the population. As far as I see now, the situation is awful. Young people that look educated are showing courage. They attend mass events or walk in a mall. Old people are shopping hysterically, buying everything. Yet they don't understand that the virus is here already. You have mentioned 1,600 deaths in Russia, and I suppose that number is quite realistic. In reality, it might turn out to be even more. So those people serve as a potential source of infection for the rest of the population. They could be asymptomatic and a potential risk. They could be infecting others. but they don't care and demonstrate that in every way possible. A Soviet man who was raised in the community, he has transformed into the visage of a hysterical, psychopathic creature. This is a post-Soviet man, and just like the Soviet, he doesn't care about his own life or the lives of others. Such massive responsibility makes this pandemic especially dangerous. Should we expect a state of emergency, martial law? Such a scenario may begin to form a military junta able to remove Putin from power. We're aware of armored columns by the capital that are ready to step in at any time. Since the authorities in Russia usually choose the worst possible solution, in theory that is possible, but in reality that seems unlikely. And saying that, I use my intuition, my logic and my common sense. What else can I use? As just like you, I don't possess any empirical data. I see the authorities turning inwards and rethinking their plans. They're afraid to take any critical measures, which is blatantly obvious from that quarantine story. Look at how slow they have acted here. So your scenario seems unlikely. We need to be ready for anything, yet I hope that such a situation won't happen. That could have a major impact on the economy. When the economy is gone, there's nothing to destroy. But on the other hand, people still have something. Putin's government perceives the Russian populace as a resource. They don't want to lose that valuable resource, and thus are not likely to take any extreme measures. This is it for today. I'll see you during the Saturday live stream, starting at 7 p.m. Moscow time. That's when we recap the current week. Please take care of yourself and stay healthy. I'll see you on Saturday. Take care.